Well, welcome to video number 3 in this build series for Go Kart God's Go Kart. Again, we're doing the electric version, not working with the gas on this one. This project is going to be for a movie, so there might be some changes from the original directions and some add-ons that you won't see in the original directions as well. So cool thing is now we get to go into this black box that they sent along as well. It's a toolbox. But inside this toolbox are some really important things that you need to finish this build. There's basically a lot of little extra bolts and nuts and some brackets that are custom built in here. One of the coolest things that come in here are these steering knuckles that pretty much lock in the geometry for you for the steering, so you don't have to worry about figuring all that out or calculating it out. It's all already done for you. And in here will be more nuts and bolts and little brackets. The accelerator pedal and the brake pedal are in here as well, all that stuff. And then inside the toolbox you have these little plastic tubs that come with individual things. So for example, this tub is written as axle mount. So of course, anything that involves the axle, everything you need is in this one little tub. Today we're going to be dealing with this one, which is the floor pan. So inside here are all these little tabs that you need to weld onto the frame and nuts and bolts to lock in the floor pan to the frame. And it's a very intense, very complete kit. Again, if you just take your time, go page by page in the directions, when you're done you'll have a fully loaded and fully built go-kart that's going to be fun, awesome, and just a great thing to have and to drive around and play with. The bags are pre-labeled, and everything in each bag is what you need. You'll notice that on, so this one is, you need 14 5/16 by 18 thread nylock, which are locking nuts. So, and the bolts themselves will all be in this little bag right here. The other really cool thing is that the kit even includes these pre-done metal tabs. These tabs will be attached to the floor pan itself, and you have to weld just the tabs to the frame, and I'll show you how that's all done. The really cool trick is what you want to do is bolt these to the pan first, lay it on the frame, then you'll know where these will end up, and you can make any little minor adjustments in placement of where you need to put them. This is the pan, so basically a plate. It's going to be attached to the bottom of the go-kart, so any rocks or debris from the road is not going to hit your legs. Also, this will be a little bit of a, it's also going to be used as safety, so your legs aren't riding on the ground itself and get hit by a rock or anything like that. These are actually got a laser etched in the logo for what the kart is. This is the hawk, and the other plate will have the Go Kart God's logo engraved in it as well, or laser cut out. I believe it's laser cut. From the way it looks like it's laser cut with everything else they did. These plates also have holes in them already where the tabs are going to be bolted on. It's a 5/16 bolt that's going to go through here, and basically once you put the tab on and you lock it in place, lay it down on the frame, it'll be ready to be tacked in place and then eventually welded in place. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a bolt with a nut out of the bag. And once you have the nut and the bolt, you have to figure out where the tabs are going to go. Are they going to go on the top or bottom? What is the orientation of the plate? And all that fun stuff. Now in the book, it basically shows that you're going to want to head and put the names, the engraving, towards the front. I'm going to put them towards the back a little differently. Again, it's your choice. You don't have to exactly do it this way, or it could be this way. This is pretty much the way we're going to do it. But first what you have to do is you have to put these tabs on here. And it's really simple. Just put the bolt through the tab. Okay. Okay, so what you're going to want to do is basically put your bolt in this little tab here. Then you're going to basically put the bolt through the hole on the plate, and we're going to put a nut on the bottom. Now, this is a locking nut, so it's not going to come undone very easily. You're going to want a 1/2-inch wrench, and you're going to want a 5/64 Allen key. I'll put the actual sizes on the video as well. And again, as always, I will definitely put the links to whatever tools I bought for this. You're going to have to supply your own tools for some of this. So you're going to need your own Allen key set. You're going to need your own wrench set. You could use a socket kit for this instead if you don't want to use a wrench like this. It'll go a little quicker. Definitely need an Allen key though. So I'm going to go ahead and just tighten this up real quick. And you don't have to put it super tight, just enough so it's secured in place. And if you have to move it a little bit, you can. Because what you're going to want to do is have this tab be at a 90 degree to this plate. Right now it's not a perfect 90 degree, so I'll have to adjust it. So a little loose is fine for now. Again, when you're finished with the whole thing, you're going to tighten it down and not move it at all. And you're going to want to put a tab on each of the holes. So now what I'm going to do is with this tab right here, I'm going to make it 90 degree to the plate. So I'm going to get my square out, and I'm going to make sure it's 90. And if it is, I'm going to tighten it up. I'm going to tighten it up so it stays in place. Okay. That one is 90. And you're going to want to keep these at 90 degrees because then when it gets welded to the frame, it'll be in the right position, and it'll also give you the most accurate positioning of this plate. Because you don't want this to be at any weird angle, because you're going to get more of this tab that'll ride on this frame, and it'll be beautiful, more aligned, looks great, fun things like that. So basically that's all you got to do is take each one. So like for example, I'm going to do this one right here. Put your square in there. Look to see that it's square. It's not. And if it's tight and you don't want to use a wrench, you can tap it with a hammer. So basically you take this square and just tap it lightly with a hammer.
Just tap it in. Just tap it in. Give it a little tappy. Tap, tap, tap-a-roo.
And there you go. Because I didn't wrench these down all the way. I made them a little loose so I could tap it with a hammer and get them 90 degreed. So this is a 90 degree angle. Makes this tab come straight off of this plate. So when it gets welded to the frame, it's I don't know if you can see, but this one right here is definitely not aligned. So I'm going to take my square, I'm going to just tap it with this hammer lightly, and now it's 90 degreed. So this to here is a 90 degree angle, same to here. So this tab is now aligned where it should be. I'm going to check the last one. And this will work for all the plates. This will work for all the plates. So this one's a lot out of whack. So tap a little bit with a hammer. It's now 90 degree. Now there's two of these plates. And what's going to happen is they're going to ride just like that. They're going to ride just like this on the frame. So we'll make some adjustments. Come over here a little bit. Check the 90 degree again. This one is off a little bit because it's loose, so it moved. So I'm going to hammer it back. Okay, and I'm checking to make sure that these tabs are still 90 degree. And they are 90 degree. You're going to repeat this step twice because there's two of these panels for the pan. So there's basically going to put more tabs on here. There's also other panels for the pan in different spots. Right now I'm going to work on this square one. I'll show you how it works. Okay, so as you can see, the tab will sit here. The tab will sit here, and you're going to weld around it so it gets locked in. And to center it up a little bit, you'll see that there's this line right here on the frame. Basically, the way this was designed, if you take them all and put them on that line, it lines up perfectly where it's at. So this basically gives it your width with this gap right here. There will be this gap. This gap will be there. It's not going to disappear. That gap is fine. But these tabs will line up on this line right here all the way around, so we know where it's going to end up. And that gives you a marker of where it's going to land. Now the only question is do I have to move the panel forward or back on the go-kart? Because there's a second panel coming in. Let's get that up and running, and we'll take a look. Okay, so what I did is I went ahead and I clamped in place where I want those panels to live in the frame. And I only have 2 clamps, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to tack weld the front ones first. And once those are in place, I can then move these clamps to the next panel, which is right there, and do the same thing over again. Tack it in place, and then weld them all in place when done. So like I said, just take your time, clamp things in position, let them be where they need to be, and make the adjustments you need to make. So basically, I'm just using a basic clamp. I'm not going to weld where this clamp is because it'll melt it, but I'm going to tack weld where this other front tab is. Yes, there will be a little gap in there, and that's fine. It's the way it's designed. So there will be a gap all the way around these panels. What you're looking for is the gap to be equal. And if it's equal, everything's lined up. So you can see I got the tab there, another tab right there, and that's what's going to happen. So these tabs, focus, there we go. So the tab is what you're going to end up welding completely to the frame. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to tack them in place, pull the frame off, and then weld them in completely. Take the panel off, and then weld them in completely after that. Again, we're going to use the spatter, anti-spatter spray, and we're going to take our time, and we're just going to go one at a time. You don't have to rush it. I know you want to take the cart out now and go crazy, but let's get this thing built the right way first and in a safe manner. Now that I've tacked these in place, I'm going to take these panels off and I'm going to finish welding in the tabs so I can put the plates back on permanently, or at least have them be adjustable. So there's that. Okay, just another quick note. These panels that are the floor pan panels, you don't want to leave them in while you weld the tabs in securely, because they're 2 different types of metal. This is aluminum and the frame is steel. So what'll happen is the frame will get all hot and the tabs will get hot. They'll get transferred to the aluminum plate, and you don't want them to heat up and cool down in different rates because you might warp these panels. And you don't want that to happen. So get away from warpage, take these off when you're welding the tabs in. So these don't also don't get ruined from the spatter of the weld and that kind of stuff. Plus you don't want to overheat this and have it warp on you. So remember, just put the tabs on, tack weld them in place, then take these panels off. And these panels, you'll see there's these 45-degree sections. These panels fit right there like that, one on each side. Gives the go-kart a cleaner look. And like I said, don't weld the tabs while these panels are on there, because you don't want to warp these. You want to keep them nice and flat and straight and even as much as you can. What I'm doing now is I'm taking the next triangle plate And I'm clamping it in place so when I tack weld it, it's not going to move anywhere. Now, it does kind of suck. You got to take these off after you tack the tabs in place. But take your time. It's worth it. Do it the right way. And it'll last you forever, basically. You know, just take your time. You don't have to rush this thing. So this plate is going to have to be removed after I tack these tabs in place. Because if I weld it in place, this will get hot, and you might warp this panel because it's aluminum, it's not steel. If you're hearing a hum in the background, sorry, that's the welder. So I'm just going to clamp these in place, tack them in, and then I'm going to go ahead and take off this plate, and then I'll weld it in place. So now I'm taking my 1/2-inch wrench and my Allen key. I believe it's a 5/64, so 5/32. Let's see what this one says. Nope, my mistake, 3/16. So it's 3/16 Allen key and a 1/2-inch combination wrench. And I'm going to take these bolts back out, and then I'm going to basically, once these are all out, I'm going to weld the tabs all the way in, because I don't want this plate to get warped. And when you're done welding, don't forget to brush off what you just welded. You don't want to leave the slag behind. And remember, if it's not a perfect weld, it's okay. It doesn't have to be perfectly clean looking. This is basically going to be the bottom of the go-kart. But as long as you're learning and having fun, that's all that really matters. Get some nice, good, heavy-duty welding gloves. This metal will get hot. And just brush away that slag. Brush away the slag when you're done. Use with a hand brush. You can do it with a wire brush that you can put on a drill, however you want. And then also, if you need to, you can also grind down the welds later on and make them cleaner and fill in gaps you might have missed. It's a nice thing about welding. You can always go back and add more. You can't always take away more, but you can always add more. I'm going to leave the panels off for now because there's still a lot of work that needs to be done on the frame. Got to clean it up. We're going to be painting it. We might actually go ahead and powder coat it, or it might actually just be sprayed with truck bed liner. Don't know exactly yet what's going to happen with that. Don't even know what color they want it yet. I would like to be like a flat black. They might want some other crazy color. Don't know yet. Once I had the frame all square and level, I didn't want to work on the ground anymore. So I got it up off the ground, put it on some sawhorses, and they're not that expensive. They're pretty cheap. They're like, I got them for like 30 bucks a piece. at the local hardware store. If you want, I'm gonna put a link to them in the description as well. Now, next video is gonna be on this 72 volt motor. It's gonna be fun. How to mount this thing and make it work and all the other fun stuff that goes with it. So if you want to help me mess with the algorithm, go ahead and subscribe and like to this video. Thank you.